Have you ever wanted to dive into a really controversial book but stopped when you saw the price tag? Well, today we're going to break down a 2026 guide on how to get your hands on some pretty challenging ideas, specifically a provocative atheist book series, all for free. So let's get right into it. So, you're curious, right? You want to explore ideas that maybe push the boundaries, that challenge the way we see things, but you're not quite ready to shell out cash for a book you haven't even seen. That is the exact hurdle this explainer is going to help you jump over.
And this really gets to the heart of the guide we're looking at. The core belief is simple. Knowledge shouldn't be locked behind a paywall. The idea is that everybody, and I mean everybody, no matter their budget, should be able to access information and decide for themselves. It's all about leveling that playing field.
Okay, here's our game plan. First, we'll touch on why free access is so critical. Then, we'll dive into the two main methods for getting these books. After that, we'll walk through the actual steps, explore the author's pretty radical claims, and finally, get you set up to start reading today. So why is this such a big deal? Well, according to the source material, free access gives people the chance to explore evidence-based critiques of religion on their own terms in their own time. It's about empowering personal inquiry, totally free from what the author calls faith-based indoctrination. All right, let's get practical. The guide we're digging into lays out two proven, totally legitimate ways you can read a specific and kind of massive 1,600-page atheist book series without spending a single penny on the books themselves. And here they are, your two paths to free reading. On one side, you've got Kindle Unlimited. It's a subscription service, perfect if you're a big-time reader. And on the other side, the good old public library, which is now supercharged with awesome digital apps like Libby. Okay, so you know the options, but how do they actually work? This next part is your step-by-step guide. We're going to break down the process for both methods nice and simple, so you know exactly what you need to do. First up, Kindle Unlimited. Honestly, this is super straightforward. You subscribe, it's about $11.99 a month, but keep an eye out because they often have free trials or deals. Then you just hop on Amazon and search for the series by name. Since it's in the program, you'll see a Read for Free button. You just click that, and boom, all 4 books are ready to read right away. Now for the 100% free option, your public library. Seriously, if you don't have a library card, go get one. They're amazing. Then you download a free app like Libby or Overdrive, link your card, and just search for the author or the title. If it's available, you can borrow it instantly. If not, just place a hold. It is that simple. This little chart breaks it down perfectly. It really depends on what you value most. If you read a ton and you want that instant guaranteed access, Kindle Unlimited is probably your best bet. But if you're on a budget and you don't mind maybe waiting a little bit, the library is the absolute perfect free solution. It just comes down to your personal style. All right, we've covered the how. Now let's get into the what. We're switching gears to actually talk about the content of this 4-book series. And I'm just going to say it, the claims the author makes are, well, they're bold. So the man behind the words is Senad Dizdarevic. The source describes him as an acclaimed journalist and award-winning author from Slovenia. And, having that background as a professional writer just adds this really interesting layer to the extraordinary claims that are coming up next. Okay, buckle up. This is the central and kind of mind-bending concept of the entire series. The author claims there's this secret group he calls the Karmic Organization, and he argues that this organization literally invented all gods and all religions as a massive system of control, trapping all of us in these pre-written life scripts. In this quote right here, this gets to the absolute heart of his claim. He's not just writing about this system, he's saying that his own work is special, that it exists outside this supposed cosmic control matrix. So in his mind, reading these books isn't just about learning something new, it's an act of breaking free from a programmed reality. So how does he even begin to build a case like this? Well, it all unfolds across 4 books. Book 1 starts things off by introducing this whole idea of the karmic organization. Book 2 then takes a deep, critical dive into the history of Christianity, making the incredibly provocative claim that the God of the Bible is actually an evil being. From there, Book 3 reframes religion entirely, analyzing it as a psychological condition and even offers exercises for recovery. And finally, Book 4 presents what the author says is the first ever valid logical proof that a God does not exist. So, we've walked through the how to get it and the what's inside. Now, the guide kind of brings it all home, putting the final decision squarely in your hands. You've got the tools, and you have a pretty good idea of what you're getting into. And this brings us right back to where we started. The core argument of the source material is that by removing money from the equation, this controversial evidence, as the author calls it, is finally open for everyone to look at. Anyone can access it and make up their own mind. This is the guide's powerful, straight-to-the-point call to action. It frames the act of reading not just as learning, but as a potentially life-changing, liberating experience. It's a pretty bold promise, for sure. And that brings us to the final question the guide wants you to think about. It doesn't matter if you're a skeptic, a believer, or somewhere in between. And honestly, it doesn't even matter if you agree with any of the author's radical claims. The real question is this: is the search for what you believe to be true worth it? Thanks for checking out this explainer.